What a game we got to experience last night between LSU and Clemson. Clemson came out fighting. A lot of us, you wondered what they were going to bring to the table in this game. And let me tell you what, they brought everything they had to this game. You looked at these guys. They have a lot of talented players on this team. You look at Lawerence, Higgins, ETN, big names on that offense. Very good players at their position. And they were showing it early yesterday in that game. You combo that with what looked like Burrow struggling early with that Clemson pressure. That was something a lot of us were wondering. What would happen with that offensive line not protecting Burrow as much because you knew Clemson was going to play aggressive. That's how they played all year, putting pressure on the quarterback. And you had to wonder how Joe Burrow was going to react with multiple defenders in his face, what seemed like consistently all night. And it was something that led to Clemson jumping out ahead early, 14-7. And then, you have those key points in the game. Clemson 14, LSU 7. You're in field goal range. It's a long field goal, 51 yards, but it's also a 4th and short. Do you go for the field goal? You trust your kicker. You know he can hit him, which is what Clemson did. And he did hit that field goal. Props to him. Big kick in a big game. But you have to wonder, knowing this was going to be a shootout type of game, do you try the 3 points there, or do you try to go for it on 4th and short, go for it, get that extra 7 points that you really need there, make it a 21-7 game, make it a 14-point game. I think as much as Dabo's done a very, very good job, one of the best coaches in the league, who am I to second guess him? But I don't know, when you're considering you're playing Joe Burrow, you know that Burrow's going to go out there. He's going to put up points. He's going to find a way to do it. I think you got to go for 7 here. That's one of those areas in the game you look back on. Maybe they could have chose differently. Regardless, Burrow down 2 scores against Clemson, 10-point game. He looked seemingly unfazed. This guy's dropping dime after dime after dime. I don't know how he does it. I don't remember the last time I've seen a college quarterback just deep ball after deep ball. These ain't short passes. He's just laying them in the basket mid-stride to these receivers on these deep passes. How do you defend it if you're Clemson, even if you want to? I mean, that was the problem with this Clemson attack here, was they play aggressive, but when you play aggressive, you got a lot of man-to-mans, and it's hard for even anybody when he's just the way he's dropping them in only places his receivers can catch them. That makes it tough on any defense. And not only that, but you've seen Burrow later, as the game progressed, he started to get rid of the ball quicker. He started to realize, I got to get rid of this ball. This LSU line, they've been good to me all year, but this Clemson front 7 is a completely different monster to go up there and fight against. And it seemed like I said, seemingly there had to be a dozen times he had multiple guys in his face just in the first half. And finally they start, finding the guys quicker. There's open men. When there's that many guys in your face, there's obviously those one-on-one. And something Joe Burrow does very good job of is picking the matchups that, favor him. He looks for those matchups. He finds the open guy, and he did a great job of it. And that kind of, it put Clemson in that issue or that area there going into halftime where you seen, LSU was getting hot. And again, one of those areas, talking about getting into halftime, Dabo does a very good job of those final few minutes in the first half, those early minutes in the second. You control that part of the game, you win the game. That is something Clemson's done very, very well in these past few seasons. And again, this time they pinned LSU back, 3 minutes left in the game, 5-yard line. They got to do 95 yards. And they got LSU right where they want them, 3rd and 19, a crucial point in this game. You consider, like we said, the 2 minutes in and out, because LSU's going to get the ball in the second half here. It's 3rd and 19, and Clemson chooses not to play it aggressive here. They kind of said, it's 3rd and 19. We just kind of expect LSU to go out here and, I guess, throw the dump off and accept 3rd and 19 is not going to happen. They didn't. They gave Burrow time, something you can't do, and he found the guy open down the field. He was beat, or he had his man beat, Kendrick. He took the pass interference here. He had to. He just kind of ran into him. He didn't have to, I guess, but it ended up resulting in a first down, and it ended up resulting in LSU going down the field and scoring before halftime. And all of a sudden, now the game's getting out of hand a little bit here. If you're looking at it as far as Clemson, you had the lead, you kind of gave it up, and right now you have no answer. You have zero answer at all for how to stop Joe Burrow, and you have to go into halftime with that. And what's Dabo do? He's the ultimate adjuster. Like I said, you cannot stop praising how good of a coach this guy is at finding mid-game adjustments. But what do? You pressure Joe Burrow. He was flustered to start. It was working, but then he started to find those guys open. He was getting rid of the ball quicker. You can't get to him if he's getting rid of the ball in 1-2 seconds real quick, finding those quick dump offs. And, once the pass rush is away, what happens next? They don't have an answer in the secondary. The one thing about this Clemson secondary, one thing about Clemson in general, we've learned this season, is as good as they've been defensively in a quote-unquote top 5 defense in the league. I mean, they played nobody all year, so that's why we got to throw the quotes in it. They have struggled to stop teams offensively that actually are good at offense if they don't get to the quarterback, especially. They've really struggled with it, and we've seen that this week. I mean, you can't go into the second half and say, you know what, we're going to drop 8 and rush 3 on Burrow, because then he's going to pick you to pieces. Anytime this guy got time during this game to find a guy, it was a deep bomb somewhere, he just laying it in his lap. I mean, there was guys doing him favors. The one guy dropped a touchdown early in the second half. Joe Burrow just threw it right in there for him, and that was one of those, we had a chance. We had a chance, I guess. We was gifted something there because, again, it was a perfect pass to him. Maybe the easier question to answer here is, does T. Higgins come off the field with an injury twice every game, or is that just a national playoffs kind of situation there for him? But we did get to the second half. Clemson does what they do. They got the stop they needed to start the half, and they got the game back within 4. But again, you find out, you can't stop them. After that, they got the one stop. They couldn't stop LSU the rest of the way. And it just goes to show how good of a quarterback Joe Burrow is, because Trevor Lawerence is no slouch. This is a very good quarterback. And you've seen that is the difference in these elite of elite that make it, to the big stage. And that completion percentage you talk about with Burrow is Lawerence missed a lot of passes this game. There was a lot of guys he overthrew, he underthrew. There was some bad passes in there. I mean, you can throw in the questionable pass interference call that the ref threw. One of those things. I thought maybe it was just an Ohio State Clemson thing. It looks like the ref's just like keeping the game a little bit close here when these big title games are on the line, which we've seen there in that pass interference that gifted him a first down where the ball wasn't anywhere close to catchable, to be quite frank here. But that was the thing with Lawerence. And that's the thing with college quarterbacks. You expect is a lot of these guys are going to go out there and they're going to throw, bad passes. That's what these younger guys do. And that's what's been incredible about Burrow is you don't see that. Even with the pressure in his face, he didn't lose composure. Even down 10, he didn't lose composure. He was just throwing dime after dime. The guy was just, you have no answer for him. That's all I can say is, even if you're Clemson, I would have loved to see what Ohio State did with their defense against this guy as well. But it doesn't look like anybody had an answer for this guy. He just picks teams apart. And we bring up the Trevor Lawerence thing is, if they wanted to win this game, they had to go pound for pound because they didn't have an answer on defense. And that's where, we've seen those incompletions. We've seen those missed plays there by Clemson. That was it. Once you gave LSU that 10-point lead again, I think it was all but over. I mean, one of these unsung heroes, shall we call him, on LSU this year has been Edwards-Helaire. We have not, you don't hear the talk about him on offense because it's the Joe Burrow show, but this guy has been a very good running back for him this year, and he was a very tough guy to come bring down. Every single play that guy is giving it all out there. You got to give credit to him. And you've seen him get more involved in the second half. He played very well. He was another part of that LSU team where they needed to kill some clock. He could be that guy to do it. All around big win for LSU.